Hello everyone, welcome back, hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. And today we're back with another Microsoft Flight Simulator video, and this is the part 2 of the Bay 146 tutorials, and this is the part going over the autopilot. So as you can see, we have LNAV selected here, and we can see the flight directory here, which we are trying to follow. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select vertical speed, and it's going to give us this pitch right here. So I'm going to trim the aircraft. There we go, so we can get a pitch at around 10 degrees. And I'm going to turn on the autopilot. So there we go, autopilot command on. A lot smoother than I was flying. Right here we can see we have TMS set for MCT. And right here you can see we are getting close to 8,000 feet. And we are losing speed. How do we fix this? We have two options. We can turn the vertical speed off, and we can use the pitch trim for this. So let's go a little bit below 10. And as you can see, we are gaining speed. We can trim a little bit up, and if you look in the artificial horizon right here, it's windy. It's very windy. So yeah, it's going up and down. That's with the pitch. We are trimming the pitch. And we can select vertical speed again, and this is one option. There is also a second option, which is going to be up to you which option you're going to be using. So right here you have sync. Let's see if we can move closer. You see the sync. This allows you to basically lock temporarily the autopilot so you can trim the pitch without turning this off. But if you do this, it's also going to stop keeping the heading. So let's go sync. There you go. We can trim the pitch at will. And sync again. It's back to following the flight plan. So you do have these two options. You can turn this off and on, which is what I do. You can use the sync. The reason I don't use the sync is because you stop doing the LNAV as well. So I kind of find it easier to just turn this off and do this. We're still doing the LNAV. We're turning on the vertical speed again. Super easy. Okay, so we are above 10,000. We can go landing lights off. Engine air coming on. APU air coming off. APU coming off. There we go. So far so good. Now we are providing AC using the engine air. We can check the pressurization. It's working. The cabin is pressurizing. All the lights are on as they should be. Anti-ice not required. This thing right here, this is because of the APU, it's just coming off. This is supposed to be a easy to follow tutorial. And looking at here, we are gaining some speed. And we are keeping the vertical speed. So just to show sync. Increasing the vertical speed just a tiny bit. You can even see this moving. And sync. And as you can see, it is correcting. If we do vertical speed, I kind of think it's a little bit smoother this way. So yeah, two options for you. Two different options. even though SimBrief gave us the cruise altitude of 29,000, if you look here, somewhat shortly, we have to be below 12,000. And a very nice formula for you to basically figure out when to descend is the altitude you are at, which would be 29,000, and the altitude you want. So we want to go down to, let's say, 10,000 feet. So 29 minus 10 is 19. And then you do times 3. Let's say it's 20, just so it's a little bit easier to do it by with your hand. So 20 times 3, 60, minus 3, because you have one extra 3 times, so 57. So 57 nautical miles out, we want to start descending. What I like to do is I like to descend a little bit early. So we're going to be descending on the next waypoint, on the very next waypoint. So this is the easier way to do this, in my opinion. I'm not too sure if we're gonna even reach 29,000. Yeah. This flight is so short, I imagine in real life they don't even turn off the seatbelts. And we are approaching flight level 290. And we're gonna fly like 10 nautical miles in, and we're gonna start descending. We're gonna spend barely any time in cruise altitude. Okay, so we are at cruise altitude. What do we do at cruise altitude? We go on sync. So sync mode, we're gonna sync to engine number 1. And all we have to do right now is basically keep the speed under control. We don't have any auto throttle, so this will be us, all us. Which is very nice, actually. Okay, so our next altitude will be 12,000 or 11. I'm gonna do 11. We're gonna arm this altitude. And look at our speed. We are very, very close to 250. So what we can do is ILS. It's gonna try and keep this speed with the pitch. So pulling the throttle all the way back, the aircraft is pitching down. It's gonna try and maintain this. So during descent, you wanna have the TMS on descent. It is pitching down just so we can keep this altitude. Very, very useful. I have not gone over the heading. It's very self-explanatory. You have a heading right here, and it moves this right here. I'm not sure if you can see it moving. It's like a triangle. I'm gonna zoom in. So this triangle right here. And then you engage the heading mode. You're gonna follow it. Decision height will be 500. There we go. ILS 110900, course 087. Brakes, very, very cold. Very cold. Okay, spoilers up. Everything else is up. Again, hydraulics are still on. This was a very short flight. I don't really see a reason to turn this off. If it was like a very long flight, like a lot longer, I would definitely go over the checklist to turn this off. As you can see, we are descending a little bit slowly, and that's why I mentioned I would be descending a little bit earlier. So, look at this. And right here, yeah. We are descending not too fast. Which, if you're a little bit late for the top of descent and you have to descend fast, this would be a really good tip. So you look here on indicated airspeed, you get this a little bit lower, just in case, so below 250. And the reason I say below 250 is so you can engage IAS. So it's 240, 250, 230, just below 250. You're gonna drop the landing gear. It's gonna give you quite a bit of drag, and then you IAS. And you're gonna get a pretty decent descent rate. Very, very decent descent rate. Okay, we are getting ready, so let's check the weather again. So, data link, weather, request, and send. View, and Kilo India Alpha Hotel. Okay. Fuel clouds, 26, 3007. Okay, 3007. Okay, we have one altimeter on 3007. I like doing this. We have this one, we have this as well, and there's also this one right here. So the reason I like setting one of them is so I know the QNH if I forget. I feel like on some planes the workload can increase quite a bit, and if you forget, you have it here. If you don't have one of those, what I personally like to do is I like to write it down. It really helps. As you can see, this is why I descend slightly earlier. So here we have 12,000, 14 nautical miles out, and we are descending for 11. Yeah, after this, 9,000 above, and then we're gonna go for 6,000. So, yeah, looking good. I'm gonna be turning on the landing lights. We are approaching our selected altitude. And we're gonna be descending for the airport. There we go. You check the elevation of the airport, and that's where what you select here. Final checks, landing lights are on. I'm gonna be starting the APU, and as soon as we reach around 200 knots, I'm gonna select 9,000. There we go, 9,000, and IAS. We might descend all the way to 6,000. Okay, IAS in just a second. This aircraft is really, really hard to lose speed. It just wants to keep flying, which is good. It's actually good. So if you look right here, so 9,000 above. Almost through it. And then we have 16 nautical miles, so we can get to 6,000. And then 16,000, so we can get to 4,000. Yeah. That's gonna be fun. And if you cannot do this, what you can do is, as I mentioned, landing gear down, you're gonna get a pretty good descent rate. APU is on. APU air coming on. Engine air coming off. Engine anti-ice looking good. We don't need engine anti-ice. The heaters we do need. Continuous ignition not required. All fuel pumps are on. We don't have any warnings whatsoever. Okay. So far so good. We are below 10,000 and going for 6,000. Brake temperature is good. We should have a decently long runway for 6,000. And what this means is we have two options when we're landing this aircraft. I'm gonna show real quick. Here in the back and on the wings we have the speed brakes. This is what they look like. And we can deploy the speed brakes when we're landing. I mean, we should deploy the speed brakes on landing. But we can also brake, and you should brake on landing. But how much brake do you need? If it's a long runway, you can slow down considerably with the speed brakes, and then you can brake towards the end. If you just want to save some brakes, if it's going to be a quick turnaround, you can do that. If it's a short runway, you can just slam on the brakes and you're going to stop very, very quickly. Okay, good. 9 nautical miles out, and we are not descending quickly at all. Throttle is all the way back. So what do? We drop the landing gear. Landing gear is beautifully animated. This should create enough drag to help us keep the speed and increase the vertical speed a little bit. It should help us quite a lot, actually. And after 6,000, that I don't believe we're gonna make it. Actually, we might. But yeah, after 6,000, we have 4,000, 4,000, and then 3. And then 2,000, and this is the area you're gonna intercept the ILS. It does look like we are good for the altitude. So yeah. Landing gear coming up. The reason I'm showing this is it might come a point where, let's say you're flying online. The ATC wants you to descend fast, and you're not really able to do that. So what do? You drop the landing gear. You slow down, you drop the landing gear. If you have to, you deploy some speed brakes. That's your best option if you have to descend fast. And then we're gonna be 4,000 above. There we go. It's very windy, which is fun. I'm gonna go back to MCT. Okay, so if we look down here, after this, we're gonna go for 3,000 above and then 2,000. So what I'm gonna do is 3,000. There we go. And then what we can do is we can control the pitch. There we go, we can get a 3-degree-ish, which should start a descent for us. Yes, I do know I'm doing this a little bit early, but it's fine. Okay, so we are below 1 nautical mile. We are trying to go down to 3,000 very, very slowly. And we should be good. There we go. And after the 3,000 we have 2,000. Okay. We can increase our vertical speed just a tiny bit. Again, with the trim, I am trimming the pitch. There we go, 1,000. We can lock in this vertical speed right here. And yes, I did deploy flaps in the landing gear earlier. Ideally, you would do this just before the runway. But it's completely fine. So if you look here, after say no, we go to highway and then runway 9. And if you look straight ahead, this is the airport. You can kinda see the runway. Ooh, it's windy here. So what we can do is we can check the heading mode, and this is right it. We can see if we can get it right on course, and we can go on heading mode. RNAV, we're gonna go to nav. And then we can arm the localizer and the glide slope, GSL glide slope, VL localizer.
Localizer armed.
And
Localizer captured.
ooh, there we go. Localizer
Glide
captured.
slope armed. Glide slope's alive. 1 dot to go.
There we go. Just gotta keep an eye on your speed. And since we have captured the glide slope, all we have to do is follow it.
Glide slope captured. Established on the ILS.
Flaps 24. Flaps 30. And flaps 33. So what I'm gonna do is flaps 33, I'm gonna click here, and this is our VRAF. This is the speed we should follow for the landing. And all we have to do is control the throttle. In case you don't know, you can check the glide slope right here.
2,500.
2,500. And you can help control this with your speed. There you go. if we lose speed, we're gonna descend slightly faster. And we're gonna catch up with the glide slope. We also have a glide slope indicator right here. Ground speed, very nice. As you can see, we are catching up with the glide slope. And then we can try and maintain the speed right on the VRAF. Okay, final checks. Okay. Brake temperature is looking good. Engine air is off, APU air is on, heater is on. Hydraulics on. Okay, we are good for the landing. This is the Traffic Collision and Avoidance System, TCAS. The Dodge, you can see here, is a plane. So if it gets too close, it's gonna give us a warning. Either go up, go down. We are a little bit above the glide slope. So just so we can catch up the glide slope again, I am below the VRAF. Ooh. Wind.
Autopilot disconnected.
Yeah. We can totally fly the rest of this approach by ourselves. We can dive a little bit so we can catch the glide slope again.
Minimums.
Oh, it's windy. Quite a bit of wind. So far, so good. Okay, speed brakes coming out.
10.
Ground idle.
No brakes whatsoever. And speed brakes coming out. There
Yellow
we go.
green spoilers. 80 knots.
And I'm not using the brakes.
Brake pressure C.
Now I am. And you can stop very, very
60
fast.
knots.
Spoilers coming up. how hot is the brakes. Okay, so this is how hot it is, but I was not braking, I'm gonna go on standby. I was not braking from the get-go, so I lost quite a bit of speed with the air brakes. And I did deploy, redeploy. I was trying to control, it was a little bit windy. So, taxi lights on. Strobe light is off. AC on the APU. APU is on. Cabin did depressurize correctly. Heaters are on. So far, so good. Okay. Now we can taxi for the gates. Light directors coming off. TMS coming off. Okay, so we can see we have some brew right here, so that's where we're going. And if you are in doubt, you can always stop for a little bit. You can give it a good look, and this is the line where we should be at. Very simple. Even though we overshot a little bit, we have an amazing turning radius. We should be flaps up. We are flaps up. Look at this turn. Absolutely beautiful. There we go, looking good. And should we go slightly forward? Just a little bit. There we go. That's fair enough for me. Park and brake is coming on. Squawk should be on standby. It is. Yaw damper coming off. If we look up here, we can start turning things off. So all the heaters are coming off. Taxi light should be off. That's not off. That is off. Hydraulic system stays on for now. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all the engines. And I start with the number 4. Same reason I started with number 1. So we can do this without moving.
Going through, doors to manual and cross-check.
Okay, we can now turn off the lights. So, no smoking off, off, off. You come off as well. Pack and APU air. APU stays on for now. Gen coming off. I'm gonna leave the left inner pump on since we do have the APU on. Engine pumps coming off, PTU coming off. I'm gonna leave AC and DC on. Off, off. Brake fans off. yaw damper, and AP and avionics off. Now we can basically connect the jetway, and we can start boarding the passengers. We can open the door. Which is open. And we can wait for everyone to leave the airplane. This is the second part of the Just Flight Bay 146 professional tutorial. I did try to go over the autopilot, the descent. I did try to elaborate a little bit on the descent and how you can descend faster. Dropping the landing gear is always an option if you have to descend faster. You can also deploy speed brakes if you really have to. This is a very versatile aircraft. You can do many things with the Bay 146. It's a beautiful aircraft. It's very well textured. I very much hope my tutorials helped you out. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And it also lets me know you guys enjoy the content. And wherever you are, I hope you stay safe, fly safe. Bye bye.